Ballylooby, situated close to the town of Cahir in the southern part of Tipperary, has been an area with a problem. Although the average rainfall is over 40 inches per year, the district, like many others in Ireland, has suffered from a shortage of water. This may seem a contradiction, but a good supply situated a few miles away is of little value to the farmer with thirsty stock on a busy day in June. This has been Ballylooby's problem, but thanks to the cooperation of the many people involved, the area is now acquiring its own piped water supply. It has been achieved by the formation of a group scheme, that is, by a number of neighbours coming together and piping water from a single source. When the tap is turned on, some familiar local scenes will take their deserved place in history. Even where water is available locally, it's often of doubtful quality, and valuable time is lost in the long haul from the source to the farm. Of course, young boys in many parts of the country enjoy a trip to the well, after having been cooped up for hours in a school classroom. But this is recreation, and a small pail of water is of little value for the requirements of an average household. Next to water, time is the most important commodity on any farm. The lack of running water greatly increased the workload, even where a stationary supply, such as roof tank, is available. The all too familiar sight of water being transported in creamery cans should have no place on a farm in 1969. There are three distinct methods of having water brought to your farm or household. There's a regional supply, a county council project, private supplies, and group water schemes, of which 360 have been completed to date. In areas like Ballylooby, County Tipperary, where a regional supply was not available, a group scheme was the obvious answer. These schemes have everything to recommend them, and unlike private water supplies, are relatively cheap to install. The County Council and government grants together cover 2/3 of the total cost. The remaining third is a small price to pay for such an essential amenity as a constant supply of running water. High-cost private supplies have been installed in too many places in the past. This has been caused by lack of information and, in many cases, an unawareness by the community that a group scheme in which everybody would cooperate could be provided at a relatively low cost. While information is the cornerstone and cooperation the foundation of success, in order to get the scheme off the ground, efficient leadership is required. In every community, there's a wealth of professional talent available, and every use should be made of it. Pat Keating, a civil engineer in the Ballylooby area, has been of tremendous help to the group. Unselfishly, he has given much of his spare time and has always been available to offer professional advice when needed. A water supply in the kitchen, bathroom and toilet is now essential in any house. While rainwater collected from the roof is better than nothing, it can no longer be regarded as a satisfactory supply. An important consideration in the formation of any scheme is a good source of supply. Before work commences, tests should be carried out to establish the reliability of the source from a health and yield point of view. Here on the farm of Michael Hickey of Scott, the Ballylooby group were lucky in finding a source capable of yielding over 1 million gallons a day. Now that's more than enough water for a city like Galway in the height of the summer season. After the source was examined by local engineer Pat Keating, plans and design were submitted to the technical staffs of the County Council and Department for examination. The quality of the water from a health point of view is excellent, and its temperature on a summer's day was 47 degrees, making it ideal for milk cooling. There's enough of it to change the face of Ballylooby farming and revolutionize home comforts in the area. One of the problems facing many Irish farms over the past year has been a shortage of drinking water for stock. Joe Ray, one of the most intensive dairy farmers in the area, was faced with this problem. Larry Sheedy spoke to him.
Well, this water scheme is very much in the home stretch now. What will the significance of it be for you as quite an extensive dairy farmer?
Well, it'll mean an awful lot to me. I have a pump on my own, but it's proven completely inadequate for the number of stock we have. is going to relieve an awful lot of pressure just from the very simple fact of stock having enough water to drink, of having sufficient water to have some fair standard of hygiene in a milking parlour.
So you believe that, in fact, the completion of the scheme will have a definite influence on your income?
Quite definitely. It will also mean that I'll be further able to increase my stock, that I'll be able to have water on every paddock, which I haven't at present. We're moving under the cow to the acre now. We think that we can do an awful lot better than this.
You're already under 1 cow to the acre?
That's right, this year.
Yeah.
But we can do an awful lot better than this. But to be quite honest about it, water is at present a limiting factor on this farm, more so than grass.
How, Mr. O'Brien, did you manage this summer for water?
Well, I managed much the same as any other summer. We used the rainwater for washing
Yeah.
and getting the barrels, you know, and then my husband brings in a churn of water for
For drinking?
For drinking, yes.
Do you have to boil this before you use it, sir?
But no, the water that I bring is from Joe Crack and Ava,
Yeah.
or from the well. They're both spring water.
How badly are you stuck now for running the house and for normal sort of working?
Oh, very badly, entirely. We, most of all I miss is a bathroom.
Yeah.
We did build a room, you know, for a bathroom, but because it's very hard altogether. And, you know, for the 4 small children. And
At the moment, without water, that's what you can do in any line.
Yeah.
And as my wife has said, it is a desperate hardship. For instance, I'm working in a rather dirty job for years,
Yeah.
and you couldn't have a bath.
Yeah.
Well, I have a bathroom built for the last 4 years, and it's just there. It is a store, if you like, now. That is the position.
It's a new twist on the pub with no beer.
A twist with the pub with no beer, the bathroom with no water.
Yeah. How long did it take to get this scheme off the ground and bring it to this stage?
Well, that's a good question. around 1937 or 38, efforts were made in the area to get a piped water supply. And as a matter of fact, most of the fathers of the present committee were involved in that effort. In actual fact, I understand there's letters on the files of the County Council from over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So that was when it started, but there were various attempts through the years, but within this group water scheme, the initial moves were made in early 67, as far as I remember. And from there on, then the pressures were kept up. We kept public opinion alive as much as possible, and eventually it got moving.
Well, is the cost a big factor?
The cost isn't a very big factor. The total cost in our case here is around £65,000. Of this, the local people getting the water have to pay a total of £11,000, which isn't to be sneezed at. But indeed, their response was very generous when they saw that a group water scheme, when they saw that water was going to be available.
What about response from people within the area? You know, maybe people with something special to offer by way of organisation or advice or otherwise.
Well, I think this is a very important factor in this whole scheme actually getting off the ground or starting at all. In the area, you happen to have an engineer with a lot of technical skill and ability, a professional man, and he involved himself up to his neck in the scheme, put his expertise, his know-how, his engineering ability at the disposal of the local community. And I think this was a tremendously big factor in getting the scheme to operate. And it's something I'm very keen on. We have far too many professional men, you know, all around the country, isolating themselves from their communities, playing round the golfs, cutting the garden, taking their wife to town. That's about their total involvement with the local community.
I understand that when the scheme is finished, it will be extraordinary in the sense that it will be at the same level of efficiency as a regional scheme, a full regional scheme. Is this so?
Oh, this is correct. When the scheme, as soon as the scheme is completed, it will be handed over to the County Council, who have the expertise and the know-how to maintain it properly and make sure that the thing continues to go full belt.
Well, this involves extra large pipes and so on. Does this put an extra burden on you as a community in paying for them?
Oh, it does, Larry. This cost us about £3,000 more as a group. But it also meant that the County Council, and in fact the local government, had to come up with extra money also. And this scheme, I think, is a very good example of very top-class cooperation and partnership between statutory authority and a group of people coming together to do a job for themselves. And I think this is, you know, really democracy in action and rather advanced thinking on the part of those people on statutory authority to be prepared to give us the responsibility, actually give us the money to pay for the job we want to do.
I understand that you were just about missed out by the Ballylooby scheme. Is there any way that you can overcome that misfortune?
Well, at the moment we're organising a separate fringe group, and we hope to be able to bring it about a mile. The group will probably bring it about a mile. There will be about 7 or 8 people interested, and they may have to pay a little bit more, but I think everybody is quite willing to do that because it's a very dry area.
Well, now, is this because of the initial planning that Ballylooby put into it, that they've given themselves the scope to take a satellite group like yours?
Oh, definitely. I think that scheme was very well planned. Yes, the piping will take nearly an unlimited amount of water.
Yeah.
They have no fear at all about fringe groups. They can take that.
Well, now, just projecting a small bit, will you change your farming pattern noticeably when the water is here?
Well, when I do get a plentiful supply of water, I'll be able to put on more manure, and even on that area of grassland I'd probably be able to carry up to 1/3 more animals.
For Pat Mason, water will mean an increased stocking rate, giving an increased profit. In this respect, Pat is typical of many of his neighbours. Group schemes, when first introduced, were slow to get off the ground. But these last few years have seen a great increase in the number of applications, and so far, 360 schemes have been fully completed. The various farming organizations, county committees of agriculture, and many civic-minded individuals have worked hard to bring home the importance of piped water to farming families throughout the country. The most important point of all is that when the work is completed, the trouble has been worthwhile, with a good and plentiful supply provided.
The source is about 1 million gallons a day, which is sufficient to give water to a city about the size of Limerick or Cork. There's no scarcity of water. The reservoir holds something like 85,000 gallons. The pipes are from 6, 5, 3 inches right down along, and it's also a loop system that there are no dead ends in it. It's looped around so that you're drawn from both sides all the time. So there should be no difficulties at all.
And from a health point of view, it's chlorinated and so on?
It's chlorinated and up to full public health standards and this kind of thing.
But the group hasn't been without its problems. There were difficulties for a time about holding meetings in the old school, and the committee had to meet on the bridge outside. Happily, this problem has now been resolved, but there remains the other problem at the school. Chlorinated water, which is available outside the gate, is being denied to the pupils. Public money was spent in providing a private supply. A well was sunk in the school grounds to supply the school needs, in spite of the assurance that piped water would be available to the school before it reopened in the autumn. Despite this, local farmer Joe Quirk is very enthusiastic about this scheme.
A plentiful supply of water, that's good clean water, is one of the most important things in the present day in farming. You can't have clean milk, you can't have proper washing of dairy utensils, anything like that. And in my own case now, I had an old pond. It was all right, it was just barely all right for cows or cattle to drink out of. But you couldn't wash churns, you couldn't wash milking machines, you couldn't wash cans, you couldn't wash anything. And with the result, I had to go to the expense of sinking a deep well pump. I was fortunate, I got water at 80 feet. The first year, on the bonus alone, I cleared the cost of the well. And that in itself, I think, was a big achievement. Never even dreamed that it could be worth that, because I had heard so much about water and clean milk. It was only then I realised what the bonus meant at the end of the year. But if I had thought this scheme in Ballylooby was going to go ahead, I wouldn't have dreamed. It would cost me a lot less. And then a well, a deep well, is never a sure source of supply. It can go dry at any stage. It has happened on a number of occasions. I know several farmers it has happened to. Several farmers have gone down 200 feet and have failed completely to get water. So I think at the present day, and anyone that don't take water from a rural scheme, I think they'll want to get their heads examined, because they'll never again get the chance. In this parish now, this scheme that's coming, I think is one of the finest things ever happened. And the people who are responsible for it, I think they deserve the highest praise.